B2B SaaS, which is a B2B SaaS company. Before this, I dug my heels in the financial services banking space for over a decade, again, doing marketing, business strategy, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, and married, two kids. That's a bit about me in Bangalore.
Cool. I
Super.
think
Yes, over to you, Lance.
cool. So same here, married, two kids. Uh, yeah, life's brought me uh, to this company called SmartReach. Uh, again, B2B space, SaaS software. Much more in sales automation. Um, I've been in the game for almost 3 years now. Prior to that, almost 8 years with I was running one of the Times digital properties called Coupon Dunia. Uh, much more in with marketing space. Um, prior to that, have been I'd spent almost like Amit, a decade in the banking industry, mostly retail banking. And yeah, I mean, I always thought B2B is going to be easy, right? When I've spent almost close to around 10 years in B2C and the challenges out there. And I was like, B2C, B2B is going to be a cakewalk. But the last 3 years have been big, man. I must say, I'm still learning the ropes. So, yeah, that's me.
Nice. I think all of us are learning. The more I learn, the more I realize that I don't know anything. So when at Harvard they said I'm a expert, I was like, oh my God, these are Harvard students. I cannot possibly be projected as an expert there. And I said as much to them. I said, you know what, please don't think of me as an expert. I'm on a learning curve as well. On some points, I may be ahead of you, and on some points, I'll be behind you. So, yes, absolutely learning along the journey. And that's the whole point of a session like this, right? Share what you know and learn from others. So it becomes a good give and take for everybody. For those of you who do not know me, I'm Benita Bhatia Dua. I am the founder of Secrets of a B2B Marketer, and we also run a podcast by the same name. We're gearing up for season 2. Season 1's already up on podcast, on Spotify, YouTube, and all the other platforms that you could possibly think of, including Apple iTunes. And season 2 is going to be hopefully launched in December, maybe November, but certainly by December, we expect season 2 to be out. I run this company called Vanilla Skills. We're into social media for B2B marketers. And we only manage social media for B2B companies and for the C-suites. So those are the only two things we do, and super niche in that. Welcome to my audience. Welcome to my speakers. And I'm super excited about today. I'm really looking forward to sharing some insights. Before we start, I want a quick show of hands from the audience. How many of you are actively using ChatGPT? There's a react button. Can you use that and raise hands? Okay, I see Amit is doing it. I see Pulkit does it. Wow. Okay, that's a small number. I definitely expected more. Okay, cool. So I'm going to be showing you a bit on how I use ChatGPT and another tool in AI called Perplexity. I find that Perplexity is fantastic when it comes to research, but I will share a word of caution. Any AI tool will use 10x the electricity and 10x the uh, by extension cost 10x the pollution than say a Google search. So turn to Perplexity when you are absolutely looking for very crisp answers. So let me start with Perplexity. Um, I'm going to share my screen and show you what Perplexity looks like and what I do with it. Okay. So I am already logged into my Perplexity account. I use a free account on Perplexity. I am not endorsing Perplexity in any way. There's no professional tie-up, no collaboration, nothing. I'm just trying to show you a tool. So ask anything. So let's say as B2B marketers, what are the key challenges of a B2B marketer? Now, this is a kind of question you will not find, on point answers to on Google. Google will give you a whole, okay, let's quickly do that as well and see. So Google will give you like this whole range of answers, right? And then you have to go, you're not sure what it will answer correctly, what it will not. Perplexity, on the other hand, will research the whole net and come up with a consolidated answer while giving you all the sources. So it gives you all these answers. Now, obviously, no one answer can be correct for a question like this, but it becomes a good starting point when you're trying to define, say, your ICP. So you talk about what are the key challenges of whatever is your target audience, you put that and you'll get an answer like this. And then it also gives you subsequent questions that you can ask. Let's say a subsequent question that gives you these answers. And you can, it keeps suggesting more questions. It will also allow you to search images, search videos, and generate images. So this is just a quick glimpse into Perplexity and why it's a great search tool. But at the same time, like I said, it uses a lot of energy, causes a lot more pollution. So I turn to Perplexity only for things when I don't want to go through 10 things or million things and find my answer. Then there is, of course, ChatGPT. I call it the ChatGPT Baba. Just like we had Google Baba, I find ChatGPT to again be very, very resourceful in terms of doing things for us. I use ChatGPT a lot in my content creation. I do a lot of batch creation. I was pretty anti-batch creation until ChatGPT came in and it made things very easy for me. As you can see, I'm on a pro account. You can see that by the fact that this is ChatGPT 4.0. If you don't have a premium account, it'll only take you up to 4, right? The legacy model. I find that ChatGPT 4 is worth that extra $20 a month because I'm able to custom create my own GPTs. Now, what does that mean? It means that instead of a usual chat, so for example, I wanted to understand a little more on bonds market. I asked it a question, what are bond markets? How do bond markets work? It gave me all the answer. I kept having a conversation about it. I used it like a learning tool. But when I wanted to do something very specific that I am an expert at, then I go ahead and create my own GPT. So I've created something called Esme. This is a ChatGPT tool that I have myself created. And quickly showing you that one does not need to know any code to create it. You can go ahead and tell what you want it to do. So you are a social media marketing expert, and you can tell it whatever details you wanted to know. In my case, because I've published 3 books, I also went ahead and uploaded my books to it. So as you can see, I've uploaded a case study. I've given the book. I've also given it templates that I like to use. These are templates that I created. And I gave it the templates and said, these are the templates I want you to use when you're creating content. And that kind of got me a starting point. Then as I use it, I customize my commands to it. So for example, at some point it started using some very strong words, and I said, I don't want you to use cuss words or a very casual language. I want it to be professional, but I want it to be very lively. So when I asked it to do professional work, it started being so straitjacketed, it sounded like a Shashi Tharoor talking, and that was not me at all. So then again, I said professional, but lively tone, value driven. So I kept adding commands, and all of this configuration it has done on its own. What I do is I tell it what I want it to do, And when I put that and hit send, it improves the configuration. So the question is, how does one create this, right? So you can, now it's like going to act funny. Yeah. So I already have my current, this thing. Why is it not letting me? Okay. So if you're stuck with anything, one of the beautiful things that I do is I tell GPT what I want it to be. So I would say, you are an expert on. This is my opening command for pretty much everything. You are an expert on ChatGPT. I have a pro account. Tell me how to create a customized GPT. There you go. So ChatGPT will do all of this for you. It will tell you how you can do things. And one of the things I have learned is to ask it to ask me questions. So for example, if I wanted to do something for me, let's say if I wanted to create a post for me, I would tell it, you are an expert at LinkedIn content. We are assuming I have not made SME. We are an expert at LinkedIn content. Help me create 5 social media posts about B2B marketing. Ask me anything you wish to know. Now, please note, I have made a spelling mistake. I'm not going to correct it, and it'll still understand what I'm saying. Okay, now it's given me a bunch of questions. So I don't want it to ask me like this. So I say, can you ask me the questions one at a time? And then, of course, it'll ask me questions one at a time. As I keep answering, it'll ask me the next question. I'm not going to get into details now, trying to keep the time limited. But I would love for all of you to explore both Perplexity and ChatGPT. And the community is open. If you have any questions, if you have any experiences that you wish to share on the community, feel free to do so. There's one last thing that I would love to show all of you. And that's an automation AI tool that I use. It's created by one of our community members. It is a free tool, and that is the reason I have no qualms about sharing it. I'm surprised he is himself not here. Is Deepu in the group?
No, ma'am, he's not joined the.
Okay.
I think he's joined the group. He's not joined the call, but I
Yeah.
believe
He joined the community yesterday. So
you're talking
Deepu,
about people from LinkedIn, right?
yes. He works with LinkedIn, but this tool is not created by LinkedIn, nor is it endorsed by LinkedIn. It is a tool that Deepu has created. I'm going to share screen and show you the tool. And we've recently started using it about maybe 10 days ago. The tool is called Personal Brand AI. Personal AI Brand. So personalaibrand.com. You go to the tool and it'll ask you to add the Chrome extension. We've done that. Then you start for free. We've also done that. Connected the account. And once you connect, you will see a box like this. And that is how you know that, all right, we are connected. Now, I'm taking the first post that's appearing on my feed. Let's say you want to comment. If this is my target audience and I want to grab their attention, I go to this and I hit a comment. And this is something I usually do when it comes to LinkedIn. People believe that you should post, once a week, twice a week, thrice a week. I do not believe so. I believe to be active, you should open LinkedIn every day and comment on at least 2 to 3 posts. When you comment on the posts of your target audience, you are grabbing their attention. You are more likely to be in their vision than if you are doing the posting. So I prefer doing the commenting. Of course, I do post quite a bit, but commenting certainly yields far better results. So I go to comment. Now, This is a post, right? It says, despite economic challenges, podcast listenership has continued to grow. Audience never stopped growing. Are you wondering how to create a show that will attract a growing audience? Great. I have my own show, right? So what I would do is I would go to this, the P shows up. I click on it and I choose whether I want a professional or a casual comment. Now, in my experience with this tool, professional ends up being a bit too straitjacketed. It's not my style. So I usually opt for casual. In casual, it gives me 3 options. Okay. So let's say I took this statement. I would go and also tag Michael Stelzner and Top Webster. I would add something of my own. So you might notice how I'm soft plugging my own podcast. I prefer not to use just the AI. I always make it a point to use AI assistance, which means I let AI do some base work for me and then I build on it. And there you go. Easy peasy. In fact, it also allows me to connect with people. So as you see, I can connect. This is a page. And so while it shows connect, it'll actually follow the page. And then this is the person who's been commenting on this there. So a person who's commented, I can directly connect with them, or I can click and view their profile. For some reason, it's not letting me do that now. Yeah, if I click on connect, yeah, it takes me to their profile. It auto creates this for me. Now, because Mark has set up that I need to know the email ID to be able to connect, that's the reason this box is appearing. Otherwise, this custom created message will be there. I tend to further customize it and then send the connection request. Most of you who are connected with me on LinkedIn would have noticed that I don't just send a connection request. I make it a point to send a personalized connection request. I know I've breezed through a lot of things, so I will want to take a moment and ask if anyone has any questions so far.
No, nothing.
Okay, super. For those who may have questions, the chat windows are open. You can leave us questions, and towards the end of the session, we can take up any questions we may have. I have shared 3 of the tools that I use, and I know that Amit does one better. Amit tends to create agents, and he custom creates solutions. What are agents and what do they do? Amit, over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Benita. Let me just share my screen, and I'm going to use 2 or 3 slides only as a visual aid before jumping into the tools or the agents itself. So let me know once my screen is visible. You can see my screen. All right.
Yes,
So
we
what I
can see.
plan to do, I think it's approximately 23 past 11. Maybe in the next 10 minutes, figure out how to do 10x on marketing using agents, actually. Okay, so Benita spoke about AI chatbots and models, right? And I love them. You know, they're great. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini. But I like to chat with it, ask ideas, maybe draft a poem, or maybe like how Benita showed, some ideas to create blog posts or LinkedIn posts. Uh, but there are challenges, right? Like you have to prompt it, and how Benita showed, create prompts, modify prompts, etc. Not all of us are great at creating prompts, right? If you have a team of 40 people, I'm sure there are people who can write awesome prompts and fine tune those prompts, and there are people who are very, very basic. The other issue is it is repetitive, right? I mean, if you had to do one post a day, it's fine, or if you had to write one blog at a time, it's fine. But if you had to write 100 blogs on 100 different topics, or create like glossary section for your website, right? Where each term is very different, and you also want to interlink your web pages, or you want to give examples, right? And it's going to be a hell lot of effort. The chatbot is only going to give you some staple responses, but then you'll have to go ahead and modify each of these. And so how do you address all of this? And particularly for hardcore marketing, let's say B2B, inbound or outbound, scale is also very important, right? So I like to say that it's good enough but not good enough, right? So what next, right? If AI models are okay, and I've been dishing that for a while now, what next? So AI agents is what comes in. And what are AI agents? Some of you would know this for sure, because 2024 2025 is the year of agents, if 2023 was the year of chatbots. So AI agents, in a very, very simplistic way, is nothing but the same AI model that I have been, down talking for a while. You take that, you add a bunch of tools around it. Now, those tools could be, Google Sheet at the basic level, or it could be, let's say, Perplexity, it could be ChatGPT, it could be a bunch of tools. Both of these together should take at least one step, right? One or more steps to achieve a desired goal. Now, that goal could be creating a blog post, or it could be anything, and you tie all of this together. Now, question is, how do the chatbot tools interact with, let's say, my Salesforce or Outreach, or any of the other softwares that I use? Is you tie it all together or stitch it all together through a no-code platform. And there are a bunch of no-code platforms. I'm going to show a couple of these, and how to do it, and then you achieve your goals. And hopefully, once you achieve your goal, there will be a learning curve, right? So you go ahead and you fine tune your AI model, or you fine tune the way you stitched your steps together, or you add more tools, and so on and so forth. uh, so maybe this is a little esoteric for some of you who have not yet started with this, but it is very simple. So let's take the next step, right? When you talk of goals, what are goals? Let's take a simple goal. Today, if I ask ChatGPT to give me flight options from Bangalore to Delhi, it'll list out flight options, right? And potentially, some cases, it'll give you URL, or Gemini does a better job at a task like this. It'll give you URLs, and you could go to one of those and try and book your flight. But the better option is, if the tool could book the flight for me, right? Including asking for, including using my stored let's say credit card details, and of course the OTP comes to me. But if it can do everything altogether, that's a goal, right? That's an action you take, other than just researching or getting a response. Let's look at one more goal. Okay, and this is a real life goal. Right now, marketers on this call and rest of you listening onto the YouTube channel, you'll figure, on my website there are thousands of visitors who come every day. Okay, 90% of those I don't care about. I honestly don't care about those. I only care about the balance 10, and of which, let's say, there are 5 or 50% of those balance 10 are really, really important for me, right? I don't want to lose out on them. So if I were to build an agent to say, hey, analyze all the visitors who come to my website in the last 30 days, filter out those who fit the ICP, right? Because I have a desired ICP, a certain revenue size, and certain profile of people. Scrape through their LinkedIn profile, right? Because people write stuff in their about me section, or the last post that they have made, or bunch of comments that they've created, or blogs that they published on LinkedIn. Analyze all of that to understand, what are the likes, dislikes, point of view of this individual. Go to the individual's company's website, also do a bunch of research there, maybe read through the 10K document and find out some golden nuggets. Now, taking all of this, you draft a personalized email, right? So this is like hyper personalization to an individual based on their LinkedIn profile and their company background. Go ahead and search for email IDs, because I may or may not have that email ID on my CRM. If I have my email ID on CRM, I want you to pick up that email ID, or I have push tools into my agent that will help you do a email search, and then send them an email to outreach them, right? And here you would contextualize, right? Saying that, hey, I noticed that you visited our solutions page, and did you find what you're looking for? In the meantime, these are two content assets I want you to go through, and happy to do a 30-minute call, right? This is the kind of email I want to send. All of this should be done by an agent. And if I had, assuming, let's say, 1,000 visitors in the last 30 days, if I were to assign this task to my database team, then followed by my outreach team, it's going to be a nightmare, right? It's going to be very, very effort intensive. So this is where agents really come in. Okay, So I gave a very simple example of one step, which is book a flight, or a real life example, and I'm sure all of you will relate that this is what we do for a living, right? And website visitors are the golden high intent visitors. So what do we do? Okay, so this is where we started. This is how we started experimenting on creating our own agents using some of the paid and open source tools. Uh, but what we realized very quickly is we had to put a method to madness. Okay, and there were so many use cases, and how do you prioritize which use case you want to go after? So we created, we thought about, okay, let's try and put this into a 2 by 2, where one axis is naturally the amount of effort required or the frequency of use, right? I mean, if you're going to do something once a year, is very different to if you do something for a living day in and out. And on the other axis, you put your expertise, right? Is it a low expertise job? If I were to give you 1,000 names of people, go ahead and search for their email IDs and their phone numbers and populate it in my CRM, is a very low expertise job. It's very repetitive, manual, and it's a very entry level job, right? Or there could be very high expertise jobs saying, hey, our company is rebranding, and we really need to think about how to position ourselves. A very high expertise job and very infrequently done. So if you were to think of all the use cases, everything that you do, from demand generation to product marketing, content marketing, digital, LinkedIn, outbound, whatever, and within that there are sub steps, right? Like demand generation would have like at least 10 different sub steps that you would do for a living, right? The day in a life of a demand generator. You plot all of them here, and in my opinion there are three clusters that form. Okay, copilot cluster is where you require to do high expertise job and frequency is low. For example, you're thinking of a positioning statement, or trying to frame the value of a new solution that you launched, and you want to experiment, you want to play around with words, right? And nothing like using a good tool like a chat gpt or a Claude to do that and generate ideas for you. uh, I don't think there is a good enough reason to try and build an agent for something like this, because frequency is very low. Then you have your creative hub, expertise hub. All of us in marketing have some creative bone somewhere. Some of the marketers are extremely creative, and then there are analytical folk. But anyway, there are certain jobs which require a lot of creativity, and that's what keeps our profession so interesting. And the frequency is also reasonably high, right? This is where you could build some agents, or this is where I would say you want to do knowledge management, right? So if you have three brilliant guys who can write short form copy or long form content like a pro, how do you democratize this, right? This is where what Benita was saying, try and create your GPTs, and that's like a knowledge management. You do a RAG framework on it and bring all of that knowledge into creative prompts and codify it, right? And then give those GPTs to the rest of the folks, and hopefully if somebody's let's say a B minus at it, he or she could become a minus or a plus, I don't know. Okay, that's your knowledge management. And the topic of our discussion today is the AI agents, which is for ideally for the low end work with very high frequency. There is no reason why you should torture your employees to do that work any longer, right? You should certainly put AI agents there and gainfully use those folks to do something better. So this is my little framework. Now I'll show a few GPTs, or sorry, few agents that I thought about sharing today. One of them is very fundamental, right? The whole chat GPT boom started because you could generate contents by the truckload. But how do you generate content and put a method to madness? Let's say 100 keywords you identified that are missing on your website, and you want to create blogs around that, a glossary section. The second is the GTM, go to market demand generation, ICP checks. The third is outbound, has a lot of research to be done. So if you come across a company who visited your website, before you make a cold call or before you reach out to them, you want to study about the company, figure out whether your product is there's a need for this product, or how do I frame the value to this particular company, right? A lot of research goes into it. How do you automate that research? And then finally, one example that I showed, right, which is BD reps are expected to nurture the website visitors. How do you do that in a better way? Okay, now I'm going to shift and try and show some of these GPTs. Let's take the first one. Okay, so what I'm using here, if you remember that slide, AI plus tools plus tie it all together through a low code platform or a no code platform. This is one of those. It's called make.com. This is one of those 10 different, low code platforms or no code platforms. You could use any of these. Let me zoom into this a bit. So what I've done is I've created a series of steps that typically go into writing a blog. But now I would do it like a robotic process automation to write 100 of those. Where do I start off with? Ideally, I want humans to apply, the best people in my team to apply their creative and analytical might in creating this flow, first of all. And second, I want them to spend their time on the first step and ideally the last step. Okay. And I'll tell you what those are. Let's say I want to identify 100 or 200 or 50 keywords that I really want to build content around, right? So I want my best SEO and content folks to actually think of those keywords, right? And long tail, short tail, whatever, right? Spend their time doing that using bunch of other tools. Now I could even automate that as another agent, which is finding the best keywords that will rank and are related to your content. But for now, assume that humans are doing this. They would populate this Google sheet here. Okay. They would put all of those keywords here. Then I have a bunch of steps. For example, take that Google sheet, and to step one is only generate titles and subtitles. Okay. I don't want you to write the full blog, because when you ask any AI model to write, let's say 1,000 words, the outcome is going to be really bad. Okay. It's called a zero shot. It's like asking somebody to type 1,000 words on a typewriter on a computer without using a backspace key. It's impossible, right? Similarly, ChatGPT cannot do that. But if I break that thing down to say, hey, generate just the titles based on these keywords, some descriptor items and subtitles, convert that into a JSON format, post it back into my Google Sheet. Okay, so I've broken this down into one step. This is what a human content writer would do as well, right? Which is like thinking of a straw man, thinking of the flow. Then based on that, based on richer content that I have provided now, generate subtopic one, post it back onto the Google Sheet. Generate subtopic two, right? So if you think of any title or a blog, you would in your mind frame, hey, I want to talk about the why, which is the problem. Then I want to talk about the complications that happen because of this problem. Then I want to give them a unique way of solving this problem. And then I want to plug my own software, right? So that's a typical flow that you would, one of the flows that you would follow, which is a problem complication resolution. This is exactly what I'm asking the AI agent to do. Post the subtopic one here, and if I go within this, I have given it a lot of prompt, right, on how do you think of this subtopic, right? So I'm saying very similar to what Benita said. Think you are an ESG expert and write 350 words in the following topic, which is picking up from the previous subtopic I created. Add data points and references without any special notation, include bullet point, blah 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 blah. You can define what you want to do, right? This is a prompt that I have created for this. I can also create an RAG framework saying that, hey, I have loaded a bunch of documents here and try and pick context and reference from this, right? Or maybe I put 10 case studies or details about my product and solutions or data sheet or something, and say that, hey, pick up stuff from here so that you stop hallucinating or creating stuff on your own. Just restrict yourself to this content. So on and so forth, right? So I create multiple subtopics, post it back on my Google Sheet, and finally I will say, okay, now draft an introduction and I'm saying introduction and conclusion later, because I always believe as a human as well that executive summary either should be written upfront or should be written at the end, right? And you need to conclude with, let's say, and then I want them to put my unique point of view as well, right? Because after the entire generative engine optimization, the unique point of view is what Google is really going to score, right? Not just plain 1,000 word content, right? So I have given some prompts there on how to create a unique point of view. And then finally save all of this onto a Google Doc on a Google Drive. Now let's say I do this, I give this prompt, I go away, I come back after a couple of hours, all of this is done. I want my best content writers to now skim through all of this, which is content by content. There are Google Docs saved in my folder. Go read all of this and humanize it, right? And then put your point of view, make some changes, etc., etc. I could also go a step ahead and post it on WordPress by itself. I don't need anybody to now go to WordPress and create meta tags and titles and descriptors, right? This can be transported directly to WordPress. What I have done for myself is I put it on staging, right? I don't want it to go live. I put it on staging so that there's a final check that somebody can do, create whatever, if there are any interlinkages, etc., whatever you want to do, right? Do that and
How
then
did you do
push
this?
it out.
Sorry to interrupt, but how did you do this?
There are tools built in which help you. So this is very simple, right? It's almost like creating let's say fixing a IKEA table. Okay, very simple. You have all the raw materials. I'll show some of that to you here. So if you see here, sorry, this is okay. So if you see here, there are a bunch of tools that are available. Okay, there are certain tools which are inbuilt into this platform, and these I would say are your connector tools. Okay, how do you connect each of these steps? There are certain inbuilt tools that are built in. Okay, and then there are some external APIs also that are provided. For example, you said perplexity, right?
Perplexity.
Perplexity. Per
PLEX.
Okay, sorry, these are also inbuilt tools. Let me see where are the external tools. Let's see, is it in this? No.
PERPL.
Oh, so wait one sec. Yeah, I think I was just when you were speaking, I was checking if that tool is there. I seem to find it, but I can't find it now. Anyway, so this is your Murphy's law. I'm not able to find those tools, but you can actually search for those tools from all of this, right? Like this is ChatGPT. It is already a favorite tool, right? So it is appearing on my note, on my bar here. But you can also add over here, right? So Perplexity. So you see this here. So I can just import this tool. There are pre-built APIs that this no-code platform provides, and you just import that tool and make it a part of this. And between these are your, you provide certain interlinking kind of commands over here. What do you want to do, right? And if you see, this is essentially a very linear flow. Okay, let me jump into something which is not linear. Okay, this is another example. Again, linear flow, and a very small one, which is open a Google Sheet, create some prompts over here, put it into JSON and put it into sheet, right? This is like a basic one. But let me move into another tool which is called Clay. It's a Clay table largely used by outbound team in our company. But here if you see, this flow is not linear, right? There are a bunch of maneuvers that you do, and let me show you how to do this. This is a flow view, but I can also go and view the output over here, which is a table output. But let me just go back to the flow view here. Okay, so this is the example of what I spoke of, right? Like people come to your website, you want to enrich them. Now,
Can you click the hide button?
I
oh
think
yeah,
it's ringing
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Now is
Thank
it
you.
better? All right.
Yes. Yes.
So there are folks who come to my website, right? I want to enrich all of those based on a tool, Apollo, or there are like 10, 15 other tools that I have. There's a certain cost attached to it. There are certain in-house tools also that this low-code platform, no-code platform provides, but I'm using my proprietary, let's say, licenses that I have. Okay. Now, website visitor, I want to enrich them. Usually, this is a broken process. You would export the website visitor file from your server, send it across to somebody who would sit on an Apollo or a, whatever. Zoom Info or any of the other tools, right? And sometimes you have licenses to do it in bulk. Sometimes it's at least a day or 2 days job to run through 1,000 things, and there are errors and so on and so forth. Now, if I want to just check the annual revenue, first filter, which is, if the revenue is very small, like say a proprietorship company, that's not a company I sell the software to, right? So I want to discard that. I want to also populate and cross check the website URL, the annual revenue, the name of the organization based on the reverse IP of the person who has come to my website, right? This is like my first step. Based on this, I did my ICP check. Okay, the second thing I want to do is, and for me over here, the base website content is coming, website data is coming through our B2B or Zoom Info or demand base, right? There are multiple codes that we are on our website, and we can pull that information. Some of them have a direct linkage to Claytable, some of them are not directly linked, and you upload a CSV file or whatever, like a discrete process. And once you let's say I have the page URLs that the visitor has visited, and I will do this exercise only on the folks that are ICP, right? I don't want to use my tokens, Gen AI tokens or the effort on doing the rest of the activity on somebody who doesn't meet my initial criteria, right? That I need to deal with enterprise grade companies. So I pick up those URLs. Now I want to, let's say, do a bunch of stuff, right? Like you can decide based on the URL, I want to see what should I write back to this person. So if somebody's visited my website page which talks of our Merlin product, let's say, right, it's a Gen AI offering, I don't want to talk about rest of the stuff with this person. I just want to focus my BD reps effort on talking about this. Now, BD reps are usually, junior folks who just starting their career. They may or may not know everything that your company does to that extent, right? Because their job is to just initially create that warm connect and bring more expert solutions consultants. But how do I make their job more intelligent? So based on the URLs that they visited, I find what is the top website category, right? So let's say I have 2000 URLs in my website. I have grouped them under, let's say, 10 categories, and then say, okay, these 2 or 3 website URLs indicate that the person is interested in my Gen AI offering, Merlin offering. Okay. Based on that, what else can this BD rep do? He or she can offer more reading content saying that, hey, you check this out, but I have these 2 really good assets on the state of Gen AI, or how do you get 10x your returns based on Merlin Gen AI, or a case study that from the last client, how they got some superlative returns. These are the 3 assets. I don't want my BD rep to really remember what assets match a website URL. I want to create that as an automated flow, saying, hey, based on the grouping you did, push these 2 assets. Okay. The second thing I want to do is uh, create, sorry, this is the pushing part, which is match reading materials from asset library which I have created. The second thing I want to do is also create an email, right? Like you were drafting some blog LinkedIn response, right? I want to create an email where I say, hey,
Hey, Amit, are you still connected?
Hello.
all of that also should be drafted by ChatGPT based
Sorry,
on.
Amit, looks like your network hopped a little. Would you mind repeating the last part?
I
Yeah,
think you
sure.
shared.
So is the screen shared or no?
No, not yet. You can just share it
All
once.
right. Okay. So, and I know I'm cognizant of time and over exceeding, but let's say I got all my website categories. Like, so let's say I have 2000 URLs. I club them under 10, 15 different website categories, and the final one, which is a catch-all miscellaneous, right? And to that, I create a matching list of assets that I have. It could be case studies, it could be white papers, it could be ebooks, it could be an analyst report, whatever it is. And I want ChatGPT to create a relevant content or an email for my BD rep, because I don't want him or her to try and now rake their brain saying, okay, what do I write? Hello, Benita, or what should I do? No. Based on all of this, ChatGPT would create a content by itself related to the matching content here and the website URL, push that content. And the other step that we have done is we have also mapped whether we have a customer who matches this particular visitor, right? So if it's an airline company CPO who has visited my website, and I have 2 other airline companies in different parts of the world, I also want I'm not going to change this, because as you see, this is a live one in production and people are using it. But I want them to match this to say, hey, you are a CPO of XYZ airline, and incidentally, I have a case study from ABC airline, right, which is our customer for the last 4 years, and you can read about how they successfully did XYZ stuff, right? Do all of this, and okay, the next step is push this into an outreach, right? So we use outreach and a bunch of other outreach platforms. So I can actually push this and queue it up in outreach. The BD rep only has to come up and and check the emails whether they make sense or not, and take it out, right? So this is actual live content. These are the people who visit our website, and we got the which company they are from, what is their website. We started enriching it using Apollo, figured out the annual report, annual revenue, did a ICP check whether that fits our criteria or does not fit the criteria. And based on that, a bunch of other steps that I mentioned got taken, right? So this is the page URL that they came to. Based on that page URL, I would say what kind of content should I push, right? So here I'm saying I should push a success story. Here I'm saying I should push these are my content buckets that we have created. Okay. And within that, now this is writing a response as well, right? So response is success story, contact, blah blah blah. It picks up from the previous cell and then creates this content here. Okay. And yeah, and then sorry. Yeah, so let's see what is doing website visit category. So it says what I'm giving it as a prompt is need to bucket the following number, which is the link count from the previous one of the number of website pages visited here. And you put the recent website URLs such that each link count belongs to one or below categories, right? So what I'm trying to do is, this is very easy actually, anybody can do it. I'm saying that, hey, based on the number of pages it went, etc., find the most relevant content bucket, and I'm giving a bunch of other instructions to this. If they do not fall into any of these, send them to my homepage, right? That's my catch-all, right? So if whatever else that they may have visited, I don't have content or I'm not able to map it, just go ahead and do that. And let's see, right? So over here I'm trying to find if the record matches in my Salesforce. If it matches in my Salesforce, then I will just go ahead and use the Salesforce content. If it doesn't match on my Salesforce, so I'm using an API, Clay API, to do that. If it doesn't match on my Salesforce, then I'll go ahead and search for the contacts in any of the tools that I use. This is the reading material that it has pulled up based on all the mapping it did. This is the customer engagement, right? And the platform that I imported all of this was from R2B2B, which week, etc., etc., right? So this is like one reasonably complicated flow. Okay. And this is an account master, and this is like a visitor data, right? So I am using two clay tables to address this and then interlinking those. So this is an APAC use case. I'm creating a table here. All right, so there are many more use cases, and naturally to create something like this, we put our best folks on the job so that they can create something good. We try it out for, let's say, a week, 10 days, 15 days. We see the quality of outcome. Are there, is the error percentage in an acceptable level? So I say that don't try to perfect everything, right? Of course there'll be errors, but then humans are making more errors, so I am okay to live with 10-15% error, that instead of, let's say, automobile case study, sometimes they push chemicals case study. To hell with it, right? That kind of problem I face with my team also. But this really takes away one big issue, which is if I were to just send 1,000 contacts across my 50 BD reps, who's going to see whether they actually did the job or not? The first issue is whether they did the job. Were they on leave and they missed doing it for the last 5 days, right? And when they came back, the lead is, as stale as a dead fish. So this takes away that, right? It also takes away the fact that all the 50 folks in my team have very different level of expertise, English, understanding of my business. I have consolidated all of that, put the best three people in the team, most senior folks in the team, to create this. Now hand it out to them, saying all you need to do, and the analogy I use is, in that fishing example with the hook, line, and sinker, you should throw the hook, you wait patiently, and only start rolling that thing back in when you see that there's a fish in it, right? So now my BD rep should not do anything unless they get a reverse response saying that, yeah, thank you, this content was very good. Now it is much better than going behind somebody who just visited your website, right? It is second level of authentication that the person is really useful. Anyway, so this was it. And look, happy to go into more details. Reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn or through Benita or directly. I'm happy to help you set up your initial
And
couple
you're
of
on the
flows.
community.
I'm on the community, and the whole idea was to, create this connect. And if you need some help in setting up your first few or going down the path of agents, happy to connect over the weekends and do it for you.
One quick check, Amit. Are these tools free to use? Is there like a free trial available? Would you know?
Yeah, I mean, all of these tools have a freemium model, so they let you play and experiment and do some basic stuff. But either there are free tokens or the things that you could do would be limited, right? Like a typical freemium model, some form of restriction. But they are not too costly, Benita. So you pay like $20 for a ChatGPT, you would pay $100 for a tool like this, right? So something like that.
Sure.
And depending on your scale of the operation, it's actually not prohibitive.
Yeah, makes sense. Thank you so much for sharing all of this with us, Amit. There is a bit of a time constraint, but I want to take time for Lance to go through this.
Sure.
Sorry. So Lance, Amit, if you could stop screen sharing. Pulkit has a quick question. He's asking, are there predefined templates available? Pulkit, on what context are you asking? Are you asking about the tools where predefined templates?
Yeah, Billy. That's why I wanted to understand the make.com, the complete flow that, Amit shared. So are there any predefined templates available with which we can start playing with
There would
and then
be some
accordingly use?
library for sure, but I would not recommend you to use their library. It is so
Okay.
simple that you might as well just go ahead and create your own flow and prompts. You spend like an hour on it, and then you'll feel, hey, this is a piece of cake, right? And then keep refining
Okay.
it.
To be honest, it looked to
Understood.
me that make.com is pretty simple. Clay certainly seemed a little more overwhelming to me, but then that's also probably because of the way, I think one has to get into the tool, toy with it, and only then the simplicity or the complexity is going to surface.
Yeah, so see, make is nicer for content part of things, and clay is better for outreach. Okay, for the BD or GTM side of things, right? I just chose a simple linear flow in make. You could always create a lot more complicated flow even there. And I used slightly more advanced things, saying, hey, I need to do these 10 things, right? And I need to bring all of this together in clay. You could almost swap it as well, right? And it will still work almost to that extent.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you. Over to you, Lance. Lance, would you like to share some information? I know Amit has brought it. So if you see this is leveling up. I'm feeling like I was just doing some base ABC level work, and then Amit really scaled it up, and Lance is going to scale it up further, I believe. So over to you, Lance. Amit,
Sure.
you'll have to stop screen sharing once, please. Yeah.
Okay. Can you just tell me once you can, is my screen visible?
Yes. You can go ahead.
Okay, cool. So, well, I think, Amit, first and foremost, it was pretty detailed. Yeah. Most of the points that I was looking at covering, okay, it's, is mostly touched base by Amit, right? So I don't think, I have much to speak about. But the topics that I was trying to touch base on is much more from B2B prospecting, right? And how is how are our sales engagement tools out there? I mean, tools like you would have heard of Outreach, Outreach.io, SalesLoft, SmartReach. These tools are constantly building AI into their platform, to improve the experience for their customers. Okay. So what you heard Amit speak about, agents. Okay. If you, you do not have to be, these are mostly no code tools, but, if you do not want to go ahead with the efforts of building something like this, okay, the sales engagement tools are already doing most of it in-house into their platform, right? Okay. And, so what I wanted to get out here talking to you all is much more is currently what were the challenges being faced, right? By the agents that we have. Okay. And so when we have our sales reps out there, okay, that Amit was talking about is when they're actually doing an outreach. So you have two parts of the entire outreach, right? Is one, you have possibly someone who's come to your website, and you use tools like our B2B to gather information, and then you enrich their tools using Clay, and then you reach out to them, right? And there is another process which is completely outbound, okay, where you defined an ICP, and based on what you've defined, okay, you are you're trying to find the right set of people, and and then you run an outreach to them. Okay. So the challenge what is actually faced, right, is when you actually go to find, when you've defined your ICP and you have a sales rep or an SDR down there who's trying to actually check, is that you have multiple tools out there which can give you accounts based on your ICP, right? So you have LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and then you have lead finder tools, and then you club all of them together, And then once you've put everything together, you go into that account and you actually need to go and check hey, is this website actually on my ICP, or was this like they've got nothing to do with what I'm trying to sell. Okay, and then you identify, okay, this is something that works for me. Then find 4-5 decision makers, then try to personalize the content, and the entire effort to get one account and personalize that, the content for that. It's a good 2 hours. Okay, and it's no joke, right? And when we're talking about doing it at scale, it's like practically impossible unless and until you are hardcore enterprise, you the tech M's or TCSs of the world, and you're going, limited accounts and you're focused behind them. But for SMBs, startups who are trying to scale, okay, it's a lot of effort. Okay, and that's when the big challenge comes out, right? And then the next challenge comes is that, hey, even if you have your team that manually sources all together, and you put up a list, and you start a campaign. Okay, imagine this: you're selling an auditing software. Okay, and your lead list is filled with you have one agent who's got a lead list filled with CFOs, and another agent which has a lead list combined mixed of different CXOs, right? CEOs, CMOs, COs. I mean, it's common sense, right? The one with a cleaner lead list based on your ICP, okay, will have a higher chance of conversion. Okay, and so that was one of the big problems which sales engagement tools are trying to address, right? So how can you do that? And that's what you've seen Amit talk about. Okay, and where you could, there's something called ICP matching that could be done via an agent, right? So you have your ICP defined, and then you can run it through, okay, these multiple tools. Okay, and this agent will throw out results which will have the highest probability of converting. Okay, or you have tools which would where you can build a tool where it runs through your lead list, and it will tell you that, hey, you have these problems in your lead list, right? You need to change these. Okay, now that can happen pretty well with AI. Okay, so you have a combination. So there's something called narrow AI and Gen AI, which is much more general AI. So narrow AI is your basic stuff like NLPs, machine learning, computer vision, stuff like that. Okay, and then you have generative AI or general AI is more where you generate content, right? It could be written content, it could be text content, it could be videos. Okay, and that's a bit higher. So what sales engagement tools today are trying to do is in the outreach or in the research stage of it, okay, is firstly trying to see is that, hey, could we give out could we make it much more simpler for you to get the right ICP and to to tell you or tell the users when there is a problem, right? And your conversion ratio might dip. Okay, so that's what one part of it in the research phase, which is much more for the outbound folks. Coming to the outbound and inbound is when we're doing outreach, right? And you've connected Clay, you've got everything added to to an outreach tool. Okay, the biggest problem faced out there is email deliverability. Okay, and how emails aren't getting delivered. Another big challenge is what is the right time to send, right? Okay, it's because you'll find a lot of questions out there is that, hey, what time is the best time to send my cold emails? Okay, or is like what Amit recently just spoke about, is that, hey, if we do not reply back, right? If the guy is on leave and there was an inquiry and it's gone stale, right? After 5 days, he's already, things move so fast. The customer's already onboarded his next tool and moved ahead. Yeah. So, he's not going to be waiting. So, can I reply back to this guy? okay, in a span of 5 to 10 minutes. And that's when AI does come in, right? Okay, so we've the entire ecosystem or the industry, what we're doing is we're trying to work closer with existing customers, or much more these sales agencies which are there on these platforms, okay, and build kind of responses, okay, which the machine learns via. Okay, so we've got huge amount of data in the form of campaigns which were running, and you've got a high amount of campaigns which have shown positive responses, right? So what was the content used in those campaigns? Okay, and then we train the AI, okay, to generate content, a cold email based on converting campaigns. Okay, so that's the entire
And I think what would help is sorry, what would help is if we could understand what are you doing, because see, all of this certainly seems like the challenges that we all face, and it certainly sounds like you're using the solutions, but perhaps if you can jump to the how part of it rather than the why part of it, it'll really help us understand what are you doing that's working for you.
Okay, so well, I mean, I don't know is if slides perfect, yeah. Okay, so well, as far as where email deliverability is concerned, is the one thing that tools out there currently are making available are sequence AI based sequence generators, right? So what they do out there is
Kind of like what Amit did.
yes, exactly. So basically, it's no, the sequence generator is more like kind of you feed in details with regards to what your product and service is, okay, and what who you are trying to target, okay, who you are trying to outreach to, okay, uh, based on the best practices that are there out there, based on a ton of campaigns and converting data that is there, okay, the AI reads into all this and creates an entire sequence of, say, day 1 send this email, day 5 send this email, day 7 send this email. They generate an entire sequence and give it to you. Yes, you have the option of you can go there and edit it, okay. Like what Amit said, is you also have the option of plugging in clay, and you can enrich that data, and you can get much more personalized kind of data which comes out of it, okay. And yeah, so that's how you can get the AI, the complete AI based sequence generated. What's the next thing? What's coming out is more from a campaign health perspective, is because you aren't running, many business aren't running just one campaign, right? You've got tons of campaigns out there, okay, and analyzing those campaigns on a daily or a weekly basis does get challenging, right? So when you have a kind of a based on a specific metrics that you have set down, okay, and based on historical data, okay, the AI then comes up with a score for your campaign, and then tells you is that, hey, these are the campaigns which have specific challenges, and this is what you need to do to get it rectified, right? Okay, so this is another another I wouldn't say an AI agent, but it's more built in, which is there out for businesses who are actively running outreach campaigns, okay. Again, another one for outbound guys who are actually running B2B outbound, there is something called reputation monitoring, which is done by AI now back again. A base version is already out there, where what happens is when you run outreach, right, over a period of time, okay, you have a domain reputation and you have your sender reputation, right, for your emails, you're sending emails, okay, and over a period of time, what happens, both of them are bound to go bad, right? It's like a fan, right? After 2 years to kharab hone wala hai, okay, even if you're following all the best practices, it would, okay. Now the thing is, you being aware about it, okay, and being notified when this is happening, so that you can take corrective actions. Sometimes it could be your email authentication is gone bad, or your email authentication is not right, or you could have become a part of a block list. Say you've taken your domains from GoDaddy, and something went wrong out there, and your IP is gone bad. Okay, or the IP on which your domain is gone bad, and that's affecting your domain, and it's affecting your sending. Okay, so what happens is AI is able to detect that, okay, and inform you real time, stating that, hey, this is wrong with your campaign. You need to look at it and get it rectified immediately, or it's going to affect you in the future. Okay, besides that, I think the slide is a way bit too long. Okay, but I'll touch base on a few important things. Predictive analysis and timing is more about the tool. AI understanding from your data is what is the best time for you to send. Okay, and based on that, it'll give you recommendations. Is, hey, for this kind of campaign, you try sending it between this time. Okay, and it also would possibly give you some kind of score that you have, okay, on your sending. So that is something which also is helping. And drips powered AI is more on basically on your reply classification. So if you've received a reply, okay, AI will categorize or classify that reply and automatically move your campaign from either one channel. So if you're using email as a channel and you want to move that to a calling channel, or you want to move it to, say, a LinkedIn channel, okay, you could do that, or you could decide your next action based on a reply that's. So
If
say,
I
for
may
example,
interrupt here, Lance,
yeah.
my understanding is that you're talking in context of a specific tool. I'm assuming you're talking in context of Smart Reach. And
No, it's not necessary. It's all the tools out there are currently providing this. Okay, some might not provide all the tools, all these
all
features
the
available.
features.
Okay,
Sure.
you're right. So outreach.io might provide you a few features. You would have SalesLoft providing you a few features. SmartReach might have a few features. I mean, at SmartReach, we are still building a few features. Okay, and some of these features are already out there. They already out there being provided by a few of the tools. Okay.
My one submission to you here, Lance, is one, of course, is we are pressed for time, and I understand that we put you in a
Sure.
very tight spot with very limited time to talk about it. But instead of the slide, if you were showing us our tool, any tool, that will perhaps allow us to visualize, because clearly you have something in mind when you're saying this. And as an audience, I'm kind of trying to grapple and make sense of what you're saying, but so far I'm not there. So perhaps if you can show us one feature, one tool, something that then makes more sense.
Sure. I mean, so the challenge what we have out here is I have access to SmartReach, and those are live campaigns out there, and and currently I mean, I've not set up any kind of a dummy campaign to showcase it. Okay, and I wouldn't want because they are client campaigns, so I wouldn't want to do that. But that being said, is where I'm coming from is just piggybacking on what Amit was trying to put forward, right? Okay. AI is definitely paving the path, okay, and specifically AI agents, right? So you have, or everyone out here has the, could either build it in-house, okay, and do themselves, okay, or tools like sales engagement tools that are there are again plug and play, right? Is because you'd require a clay, you'd require a make to connect it, because if you want to send something out, you need to connect it out here. Okay. What these tools do, they also, along with your other helping you with research, or helping you with sending, it also helps you with other aspects of the business, like email deliverability, domain reputation and stuff like that, right? It's because that's what many marketeers they do not concentrate that much on. Okay, and imagine is if your deliverability goes bad, okay, and your deal size is roughly around $150,000, okay, and your team has taken, almost close to a day to prospect that. Now imagine sending out that email and that email goes to spam, right? Okay, it's a missed opportunity directly. Okay,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
that's the importance.
And I think as marketers, all of us go through this, right? So you're absolutely nailing the kind of challenges we are facing as marketers. Uh, Timing is everything, yes. Are we missing opportunities? Yes. But is there like a solution to this? And if that there is one, or at least at Smart Reach IO, what are you as a marketer doing, not as a tool, but as a marketer, what are you doing to solve for this?
So, well, see, at Smart Reach is again a platform. We building platforms for marketing teams that want to outreach, right? Okay, we use the tool ourselves. Okay, so we use our own tool.
Makes sense.
not
It's your,
to-
I mean,
yeah,
it's your
it's our
pot
tool,
of
right?
tea, so of course you should drink
Right.
it.
Right. So that being said, okay, it's not necessary that we use only our tools, right? Is because like say for example, is you have a lot of verifications tools out there, okay, which help you verify if an email is valid or not valid, okay, or you have tools like Clay or B2B out there, okay, which provide a specific service which possibly we don't provide, right? We know our limitations, and we know that we are good in email deliverability, we're good in outreach, right? Again, we know we're not good in everything, and we don't want to be good in everything, okay. But and that's where we trying to inject in AI only into the platform or processes where we can help customers, right, and help ourselves in the making. Is I think one very important where we're using right now, we're using AI, and where you were talking about content, right? Generating content and getting active on LinkedIn, and in fact we very recently started getting pretty active on LinkedIn, and with our posts, and
You
we're
should
trying to
talk to us more.
yeah, we try to get our posts more quirky, more light, not to enterprise level, with all those jargons. And very honestly, AI is and like what Amit and you shared, right? You give a command, it gives you something, and it's not me, right?
Yeah.
It's not me, or it's not something that we have. So what we've definitely started doing is we've started what you were talking about 4.0. Okay, we've started training. We've started training them. We've started training AI on giving us content on the way that we like it. Okay, this is what is going to go out from a Smart Reach handle. This is what are going to go out from, say, one of my team members handle. Okay, and the output is, again, I would still say is it's co-piloted. What Amit was talking about is when you're putting content out over there, is no matter what, okay, it's still AI, right? And you imagine this, right? AI is writing content today, and after some time is AI will be writing over AI content. And at there would be a level one day is every bit of content is going to be written by AI. So where is the originality lost, right? Okay. And I think what is important, and slowly I'm digressing. I'm sorry, I'm digressing from AI, but what Google is getting into is where they're talking about who's the author, right, of this content, and what is his standing that is there, and they're giving some kind of score, and that's doing the rounds in the last EEAT, right? And it's been doing the rounds for quite some time, almost a year now. But I think that food for thought before I end is that's something that we should also, when we're looking at generative AI for content, is we should also think about that. Yeah.
My whole take on this, I think also reiterated by Amit in his way, and you again, is that AI can be an assistant, but we have to have the human uh, top layer to it, if I may put it that way. If AI is simply all automation and the human is completely lost out of it, then not only Google will punish it, yes, but also, it shows through, and at some point it will start becoming disconnected. People will not associate it with it, and therefore, if you're using AI to assist us, I think it will make sense. But if you're using AI to simply, go hands up and say it's going to do everything, that's never going to happen. I don't foresee that happening.
Yep.
Thank you so much for sharing with us, Lance. Amit seems to have left the call. I would have loved to thank him also personally, but I want to open the floor to our participants. Perhaps if you can raise your hands if you have a question or even some insight to share. We do not believe that we are any kind of experts. We started the session by saying that we believe we are all learners, we're just on different learning journeys. So if any of you can share any insight, any experience that you have, we would love to hear from you. I don't know a lot of the members in the group, but I can spot some of known faces. Malhar is one, Deepu is another. I would love to hear from you guys if you have any experiences worth sharing. Deepu, I know people would love to hear from you, especially when it comes to LinkedIn. If you have any thoughts on this, we'd love to take your take on it.
Hi, hey Benita. Guys, sorry I had to join a little late. Very insightful, Lance. Thank you for sharing your. Sorry, Malhar, I think he had raised his hand. I just saw that now. Would you want to speak first?
Hey, no, that's all right. I'll
Okay. Well, I feel the way I look at it, there's an interesting point which Lance did speak about content being generated by AI, and then you get another AI working on it around to get a reply, right? That's a very interesting point and food for thought. I echo the thoughts which Benita has also mentioned about how to use AI effectively. The way we look at it is how you use AI either as an agent or as a model to enhance your work. And what we also foresee, there are certain reports and research that has come up, is that a number of tasks that we would be doing over time is only going to increase, and all of these tools and agents is something that we must embrace so that we can be more effective and save time. But having said that, creativity is very unique. It is, and that is something which will be required for marketers to stand out. So while you have another personal co-pilot or an assistant with yourself, using that wisely is going to be key. And secondly, I think there are 2 pointers that came out in one of our research, and probably I share that report with you guys later, is the future for marketers is basically on creative thinking and innovation, and secondly, more on prompt engineering. So the guys who can probably, work on all of that effectively, and plus the knowledge about what's there, right? There are 2 set of people that we have also seen. One said, hey, listen, there's AI, but I'm going to go through my own way. I'm going to still follow the traditional manner. And the second one who says that, listen, I'm intrigued. I would want to know what is going on in the market, but I'm going to use both of this wisely and then move forward. Also, the number of people in the team is going to get smaller, shorter, whatever you want to call it as. So can I be multifunctional in any way? Can I think more than a marketer? These are all conversations that I've been hearing very often from industry leaders and operators. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Deepu. For those of you who may not know, Deepu works with LinkedIn. He's the senior account director. I think Deepu was promoted recently, so my title or designation may be old now, but Deepu is a very senior person on LinkedIn, and he's somebody I've been connected with for a while now. He was also on my podcast. In fact, he was one of the very first guests on my podcast. Thank you for sharing these insights, Deepu. Malhar, over to you.
Sure, thanks. But I just wanted to probably introduce one more tool for benefit of the community. So this tool, if someone is as interested in tech as me, they can explore it. This called Olama. So this is
Spell that?
it's OOLAMA.
Olama, Olama. Okay, thank you.
The interesting part is it is say like you would do a chat GPT or custom GPT. So this is basically you can create your own LLM, and that's the best part of it. So you really don't have to rely on the knowledge which either a chat GPT or Perplexity or any of those tools have. You can create it based on your own set of documents, based on own set of knowledge that you want the tool to respond on. And someone of you who is probably very good on research, downloads lots of reports on a certain topic, you can just put all those reports, right, bunch of reports into it, and then start querying around those reports. And so that's the best part of it. So you can drive as much, or you can create your own GPT, for example. And the reason I wanted to introduce this tool is, the future that probably I foresee is brands will have a website, but the landing page of those website could just be a Q&A kind of bot, right? So people looking really don't want to go through clicking on the tools or clicking on the links and say, okay, where is this and what it is about. Most likely people will be querying it, right? And say, okay, I want to know about your products and services. So you can just feed in those information and you can bring in that intelligence. I'm forcing because the way adoption of those AI tools is going on, and if someone is interested, they can start adopting that. At least have one page which says, okay, go and query my website. And Olama could be a very good tool where people can start using it. It's free also, right? So you can download it. Yeah.
Lovely. We all
put it on your own laptop, so it's a very lightweight tool. The only weight is the kind of documents that you want to add. Push links, push documents, anything that you want it to build knowledge on.
So,
Benita,
sorry, go on.
Benita, what was the name of the tool that besides Olama, the tool that you were talking about, which Deepu has created? If you can share that on the chat, it'll
Yes,
be great.
in fact, I'll let Deepu share it on the chat window.
Yeah, Deepu, if you could,
He's
please.
already
I think
he was quick about it.
I put it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Also, that is a tool you can also use to create content. It auto creates content. It's a fascinating tool. It's a tool that you should explore. And I've been using it for about 10 days now, and I'm quite loving it.
Okay,
One
because
of my
I just started
was,
with the Super Grow, and I said, "Is okay, fine. I seen you share this." I said, "Let me have a look at it."
Yeah, Super Grow is another tool. Yes. I've heard of Super Grow. I've not used Super Grow yet.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm somebody who loves tinkering with tools, and I believe that a toolkit helps because then, the bigger the toolkit you have, the more equipped you are to pick what you need when you need something. So I'm not somebody who will rely on one tool and say, for all my needs, I love, say, ChatGPT or whatever. I don't function like that. I believe in toolkits and not single tools. Malhar has spelt it OLLAMA. Apologies for my misspelling. Thank you, Malhar. But I would love to try these tools out. And if anybody has any more tools they wish to share, use the chat window, or you can come on the virtual stage and talk about it. All right. I am assuming that's pretty much all we have for today. I apologize for the overstretch. And I really hope that this session was helpful to all of you who attended. And we hope to continue doing this, say, once a quarter or once in 6 months. We'll see how that goes. So if any of you want to initiate a session, then please reach out to me and let us know what you would like to talk about, and we can work together and come up with a session. Thank you, everyone, for making time on our weekend and joining us, and have a lovely weekend.
Thank you so much. It was lovely interacting with all.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you.